So let us start the class today. We have discussed so far the fundamental concepts related to operating system, and we have seen that how the processes are created actually, and they uh, go through different states during their life cycle. And the diagrammatically that we have discussed earlier was a process life cycle. So we have seen that in process life cycle, the process goes from different states and ultimately finally it gets terminated. And when it is terminated, it before that it is showing the corresponding result on the screen to the owner who has actually submitted that process. So since all the processes or all the programs which we run corresponding to my program, if any process is created, so that is called a user process. And similarly, we may be having a number of processes which are started for a smooth functioning of the system by the kernel itself, and they are referred to as system processes. One such example we have seen in yesterday's class was the process called swapper, and it is also called scheduler, which is looking after the management of shifting of or shunting of the processes between RAM and swap area. And swap area along with RAM is a good example of virtual memory, because we have seen that physically, even if we were having x GB of RAM, but by fixing y GB of space on the hard disk as swap area, apparently we have increased the amount of RAM to x plus y GB. So that is not actually a single physical memory or a RAM only. That is the combination of two memories, but we are treating it as if it's a single memory, and that is why it is called a virtual memory. So now we'll discuss the installation process, and we'll see some of the basic commands of Linux. For installation, either you can have a partition created on the hard disk of your laptop, and you can install a different OS. I mean, if you are having your laptop already having Windows as operating system, then you can also have another partition where you can keep Linux, and then you get the option of choosing any of these two operating systems while booting the laptop. But that way you cannot keep more than two operating systems, whereas in case of virtualization, it is possible that you can have multiple operating systems kept on a single laptop. So like in my case, my laptop is having Windows 10, but along with that I am also having Ubuntu 16.04, and that I am using through the help of VMware. So VMware is basically a virtualization software, and it helps you to create a virtual machine. So we can have a number of machines which can virtually we can create, and whenever you are creating any virtual machine, that machine has to take the resources from the base machine. Now my physical machine or my base machine is this laptop which I am using to take your class, and then is this laptop is having 4 GB or 8 GB of RAM. So out of this 4 GB or 8 GB of RAM, I can simply take 1 GB of RAM, and I can create a virtual machine on this laptop. That means virtually I'll be having another machine on this laptop, and laptop originally has a Windows as base operating system, but the virtual machine which I have created and that has taken actually resources from this laptop itself is having Ubuntu as operating system. So it's possible that we can have two or more virtual devices created on the same physical device. Like on my laptop, I can have two virtual devices created, one with the one with the operating system like Ubuntu, second with the operating system like Windows XP. So that whenever I wish to make use of Windows XP, I can simply boot my system, which is originally booted with Windows 10 only, which is the base operating system. And after that, I'm executing VMware, which is creating a virtual layer over Windows 10. And now above that virtual layer, we are creating a virtual device, and the base operating system of that virtual device I can specify as Ubuntu. So इसी लैपटॉप से आई एम हैविंग टू डिवाइसेस, वन जो ओरिजिनल लैपटॉप था जिस पे विंडोज 10 है, और दूसरा जो हमने इस पे एक और वर्चुअल डिवाइस क्रिएट करी जो कि उबंटू ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के साथ है. तो इस तरीके से वी कैन हैव this kind of virtual setup. Now for that purpose, जैसे मैंने कहा कि you need a virtualization software that can create a virtual layer over your base operating system, and after that you can install another operating system above the virtual machine. तो जो virtualization layer है वो ऊपर वाली जो उसके ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम जो आपने उबंटू इंस्टॉल किया है उसके लिए वो एक वर्चुअल डिवाइस क्रिएट करने में हेल्प करती है, और उसकी सहायता से एक वर्चुअल डिवाइस हम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. तो फॉर इंस्टॉलेशन ऑफ दिस काइंड ऑफ वर्चुअल मशीन यू नीड अ VMware वर्कस्टेशन सेटअप. पहले आप इसको रन करते हैं, एंड आई हैव stored some of the screens for this purpose so that I can show you what is happening in this case. So you can just see what I'm showing on the screen is when you run this VMware workstation. तो एक बार अगर ये इंस्टॉल हो जाता है ये सेटअप, तो देन व्हेन यू क्लिक दैट VMware and you start it, so you will get this kind of display finally on the screen. ठीक है, now this workstation is ready as a hardware. Now you have to create a virtual machine with a particular operating system. So then you can click on this open a virtual machine option, and when I am clicking on it, I am getting दिस काइंड ऑफ डिस्प्ले. एक आपके पास एक स्मॉल विंडो ओपन हो जाएगी जो ब्राउज कराएगी आपको कि यू कैन स्पेसिफाई द ubuntu.vmx फाइल. So actually what you need is you need a VMware workstation setup, and you also need a compressed Ubuntu folder, or you may be requiring ISO uh, image. ठीक है, but here since I am having this Ubuntu as a compressed folder, तो सबसे पहले क्या करूँगा, I need only two, I am having only two pieces. One is the VMware workstation, and second is the compressed folder of Ubuntu. So I'll first decompress that Ubuntu folder once it is copied to my laptop, and I'll remember कि where I have uncompressed it. तो जहाँ पे भी आपने उसको decompress किया है, आप उस फोल्डर को या उस डायरेक्टरी को याद रखें, एंड देन you run that VMware setup. आप जब उसको चलाएंगे, so as I told you earlier कि you will be getting finally this kind of screen. एक बार अगर setup complete हो जाता है, and then when you run VMware, so you will be getting this kind of screen. Then you select this open virtual machine option, and you go to that folder where you have decompressed that Ubuntu folder. So you go to that. Inside that you will be ultimately reaching to a directory where you are having ubuntu.vmx file. ठीक है, ये आपको फाइल स्क्रीन पे दिखाई दे रही है where I'm moving this cursor. So you can double click this, and once you are clicking this, this virtual machine will be started, booted with Ubuntu operating system. So here onwards you will be having this kind of display. I mean, subsequently whenever you are starting your laptop and after that you wish to work in Ubuntu, you simply double click on the VMware icon, and you will be having this kind of display finally coming on the screen. Then you can go to this option where you are getting this play button. So when you click it, you will be getting a drop down where you are having a start guest machine, and you can click that, and finally that will lead to the display of this kind of a screen on monitor. And when you double click this terminal icon, so then you will get the finally Ubuntu dollar prompt on the screen. और वो डॉलर प्रॉम्प्ट किस टाइप का आएगा, लाइक वन विच आई एम शोइंग ओवर हियर, कि ये यहाँ पे जैसे डॉलर प्रॉम्प्ट आ गया इसका, एंड नाउ इट इज रेडी टू टेक कमांड्स फ्रॉम यू. ठीक है, ये यहाँ पे आप इसमें कमांड्स दे सकते हैं. तो इसके लिए आपको जो बेसिकली ज़रूरत है वो दो रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं. वन इज VMware workstation setup, so that file is required, and when you are installing it, it will ask you for providing the serial key. So that key you need to provide, and once it is installed, then you have to double click it, and finally that will lead to the display of this screen which I have shown you earlier, that ultimately this will lead to the display of this screen. And here you can select the open virtual machine, and you go to that through this open virtual machine. When it is letting you to browse the particular directory, you go to that decompressed Ubuntu folder that you have just copied, and then there only you move inside that unless and until you get the file that is ubuntu.vmx जैसे यहाँ पे आया. So when you are selecting it and double clicking it, then the machine will be started. And remember this, you have to do only once. After that, whenever you are clicking on VMware, you will be having this kind of a screen, and then simply you have to go to this place where you are getting this play button, and you have to simply start the uh, virtual machine. So that virtual machine, once it is finally, it will start displaying some kind of messages on the screen, which will ultimately finish with the display of this kind of screen finally. So this purple color screen. And here this icon where you are having greater than sign, and a cursor is also shown over here that indicates it's a terminal. So you can double click this, and when you are double click this, the terminal will be started. And terminal ultimately gives you the dollar prompt. So dollar prompt, you know that we are getting because of shell. So that is the point from where you have to start your practical things. So you have to execute the command, etc. So is it clear? Please respond so that I can understand. Yes, I am audible to you, and you are listening to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I know that in the beginning, you may be finding it difficult to understand what is happening, but the sequence is very easy, and you have to get confined to only two things. One is the VMware workstation setup, that is an executable file that you have to double click on your laptop, and once it is started, it will prompt you to enter the serial key, and then of course you have to get this VMware workstation installed. And once it is installed, then you have to uh, just double click it to start it. And when it is started, ultimately, as I showed you that ultimately it will give you this kind of a screen, and then you can select open a virtual machine option, and there from there you move to the decompressed folder of Ubuntu that also you have copied on your laptop, and you have decompressed it. And then there finally you specify ubuntu.vmx file, and once it is specified, the Ubuntu machine will be started. Now this you need to do only once. You don't need to repeat it again and again. Now next time onwards, what will happen? Only you have to click on VMware icon. I will just show you on my laptop. So this is the icon, VMware workstation. So here you have to double click, and that will finally give you this prompt, this kind of a screen, uh, this kind of a screen, and here you have to have this play button. So on that play button, you have to click, and it will give you the option of start guest machine. And then the machine will be started, and this will finally lead to the display of this screen. And here you have to double click this terminal icon, and then window this Ubuntu machine will be started like the one which I am showing over here. Okay. So this way you can uh, get this Ubuntu terminal ready for you. And the one which I was discussing was this one. Now here you can see in the drop down, like this one startup guest is currently deactive. Why? Because we have already started this machine, and the machine is now functioning. Now I'm having the option of shutting down this machine. So gracefully you have to shut down this machine. So upon closing this session, I have to select this shutdown guest. When I am clicking it, this machine will be shut down, and ultimately you are left only with the screen of workstation. And then you have to simply choose this file option, and you have to get exit from this software. So now I am increasing the size of this because our intention is to see some of the basic commands of Linux. So I'm going to exclusive mode. Now from here onwards, I can do some practice of the commands. Just a minute. So now the one which we have discussed earlier was the ps command, and that I uh, told you just to give you the impression ki how we can start another shell on my default shell by just using that shell name as a command. Like if I type bash, so another bash will be started, and that was the example which I showed you in previous classes, where I told you that how we can have two circles over the kernel. One which originally you are using to get connected with the kernel, and second which is started on the default shell. So now we'll see some of the commands which are very easy to understand. One command is, since you know that we have a file system which is the hierarchy of directories and files. So we'll see how can we create the directories, how can we create the files. And by the way, in Linux or Unix, it is normally said that everything uh, the operating system like Unix and Linux treat as files. So for Linux, everything is a file, whether it's a directory, whether it's a file. Actually, the file which till now we have been saying is the file which we create on Windows. For example, if I'm typing any seminar report, I claim that this is my file, maybe docx file, or similarly, if I'm having any Excel file, so that is also a file. You are writing a C program, that will also be a file, or C++ program or Java program for that matter. So everything is a file of that nature. But here, whatever you used to say till this point as files is called a regular file. So in Linux, we always say that this is a regular file. In case of directory, we say it's a directory file, because we know that Linux treats everything as a file. So directory is also a file, and the file which so far we know that as file concept is actually called a regular file. So I can just show you that we can create three directories like mkdir abc. Now if I write mkdir abc, that means I wish to create three directories abc, because these two are already existing A and C. So that's why we are failed to create them. So I can choose another name, but before that, let us see what we already have in this directory. So we are having some of the directories already, like A is there, B is there. So what we can do is we can take another name, maybe mkdir. We are taking M1, M2, and M3. So now we have created three directories, but before that you must understand where you are at present. What is happening basically, whenever you are logged into the system, by default you are placed in a directory, and that directory is called your home directory. So in order to see the complete path of that home directory, we can give the command pwd. That pwd stands for print working directory or present working directory. So when I am giving pwd, I am getting /home/user. So this is my home directory, because by default I am placed in this directory. See, this is the laptop where I'm using Ubuntu through VMware software, but normally what is happening, we may be having a setup where we are having a Linux server kept in server room, and then you may be sitting on any terminal, which is the part of that network which is connected to that server. And on that machine, you may be having Windows. If you are having Windows, then you have to make use of Telnet kind of utilities to get connected with the Linux server, which is kept in server room. Or it is also possible that you may be having a pure multi-user environment where you are having a mini computer, having Linux as a operating system, and you are sitting on a dumb terminal. Dumb terminal means you are having only monitor and keyboard, nothing else is there on that terminal. So you have to simply switch on the terminal and you keep pressing enter, enter, enter. So ultimately you will get a display on the screen, enter your login name. So by default you are getting enter your login name. But this I am talking about that terminal which is directly connected to a Linux server as a dumb terminal. But in most of the cases, in today's context, we are having a lab setup where we are having a network which has multiple softwares. having multiple operating systems. Like if you see the IT resource center, here we are having the labs where most of the time we are working on Windows. So what is happening? We may be having this kind of setup where a Linux server is kept in the server room, and now you are sitting on a Windows machine, and your intention is to get connected to the Linux server which is kept in server room. So for that purpose, you have to execute telnet. You have to execute telnet command in the command mode of that Windows machine. और वहाँ पे when you give telnet, you have to give IP address of that Linux server. So if my Linux server has the IP address as 172.16.1.256 or 250 251, 256 cannot be there, 251. So that may be the IP address of my Linux server. So what will happen? Your terminal will become a remote terminal of that Linux server. And it is not necessary that that Linux server is kept in a server room only. It may be possible that Linux server is kept at Lucknow, and you know the IP address of that machine, and that IP of course should be a public IP, and your login should exist on that Lucknow based server. You should have user ID and password issued by the owner of that Linux server. And now by just sitting in any lab of the Gorakhpur, you have to simply type telnet and the IP address of that Linux server which is kept at Lucknow. So what will happen? Your machine will become a remote terminal of the Lucknow based Linux server. So now here onwards, and you'll be prompted to enter the user ID and password. So that user ID and password you have to use, which has been issued by the owner of that Lucknow based server. And once you have correctly entered all the credentials like user ID and password, then it will lead to the display of dollar prompt on the screen. And here onwards, whatever you are typing is actually going to the server which is kept at Lucknow. So we discussed that scenario yesterday in some of the diagrams where we have seen that the person may be sitting on different terminals, but whatever they are typing is going to the same machine because it's a multi-user machine. So that machine is solely responsible for execution of all your programs. So even if you are sitting on a Windows terminal, but once you are connected to the Linux server through that Windows machine, and your machine has become a remote terminal of that Linux server. So here onwards, your machine will start behaving like a dumb machine. So the local CPU or the local USB port or anything which is locally available like RAM, etc. will not be used for your purpose. Actually, whatever you are typing is going to the Linux server, or you can understand as if your terminal or the node where you are sitting is behaving just like the case where you are having the monitor of that server kept in the lab. I mean, server is kept in server room, but monitor is kept in the lab where you are sitting. So you are basically you should understand that your machine or the node where you are doing work is merely the extension of that Linux server which is kept in server room. तो अब इसके बाद आप जो कुछ भी करेंगे that will go to that server machine, ठीक है, and local machine will not be responsible for execution of any of the works which you are doing. Or similarly, if you are if I have been issued a user ID as SPS ITCA, so I have to use that, and whatever password is there for me, I can use that password, and then finally it will lead to the display of dollar prompt. And now you can understand that this dollar prompt I am getting because of Linux server. So whatever I am typing or whatever I am doing over here is simply going to that Linux server which is kept in server room. ठीक है, और मेरी लोकल मशीन का उसमें कोई रोल ही नहीं है, तो कोई एग्जीक्यूशन आपकी लोकल मशीन नहीं करेगी. And this will continue as long as you are continued with the working of Linux. So once you are giving exit or log out, you will be disconnected from the Linux server of server room, and now you are coming back to the host operating system. And what was the host operating system? That was basically your node booted with Windows. So you are coming back to Windows, and now you are resuming the operation of local machine. So here onwards, whatever you will be doing, that will be done by the local machine. So is it clear कि आप जब भी किसी ऐसी मशीन पे बैठते हैं जो विंडोज से बूटेड है और एक नेटवर्क का पार्ट है, और उसी नेटवर्क में कहीं पे एक लाइनक्स सर्वर है, और आपका यूजर आईडी और पासवर्ड उस नेटवर्क सर्वर के ऊपर क्रिएटेड है जो लाइनक्स का है, तो आप किसी भी नोड पे बैठे जहां विंडोज है, और अगर आप लाइनक्स को यूज करना चाहते हैं तो आपको टेलनेट टाइप की यूटिलिटी यूज करनी पड़ेगी, जो आपको रिमोट कनेक्शन की फैसिलिटी देती है। और क्योंकि कनेक्शन आपका उस सर्वर से है एंड यू नो द आईपी एड्रेस ऑफ दैट सर्वर, तो उसकी आईपी एड्रेस को आप टेलनेट के साथ देंगे, यू राइट टेलनेट एंड देन आईपी एड्रेस, तो यू विल बी कनेक्टेड टू द लाइनेक्स सर्वर। और एक बार अगर कनेक्ट हो गए तो आपका जो विंडोज वाला डेस्कटॉप है जो उसके ऊपर एक स्क्रीन ओपन हो जाएगी जहां पे आपको प्रॉम्प्ट आएगा यूजर आईडी और पासवर्ड का। और आपने अगर करेक्टली यूजर आईडी और पासवर्ड दे दिया तो आप उस लाइनेक्स मशीन से या उस लाइनेक्स सर्वर से कनेक्ट हो गए। अब इसके बाद एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर कन्फाइंड टू दैट स्क्रीन, आप उसमें जो कुछ भी काम करते रहेंगे वो सारा का सारा लाइनेक्स मशीन पे ही जाएगा। अगर आप उसको लॉग आउट किया एग्जिट करके टर्मिनेट कर देते हैं तो फिर आपकी वो डिस्कनेक्शन जो है डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाएगा एंड यू विल कम बैक टू द ओरिजिनल मशीन एंड दैट वाज द ओरिजिनल लोकल मशीन बूटेड विद विंडोज। अब इसके बाद ये लोकल मशीन फिर से एक्टिव हो जाएगी, दिस विल नॉट बी अ डम टर्मिनल, दिस विल बी अ इंटेलिजेंट टर्मिनल। तो उसके जो यूएसबी पोर्ट वगैरह हैं सब एक्टिव हो जाएंगे एंड यू कैन यूज देम एज वी आर डूइंग इट नॉर्मली। But once you are connected to the Linux server, then the local drive etc. will become disabled and they are not usable. Why? Because आपके मॉनिटर पे केवल जो एक स्क्रीन आ रही है वो उसी Linux सर्वर का एक्सटेंशन है। तो आप उस पर जो कुछ भी काम कर रहे हैं वो एक्चुअली आप Linux सर्वर पे काम कर रहे हैं। तो जब तक आप उसको खत्म नहीं करेंगे तब तक यू कैन नॉट कम बैक टू विंडोज मशीन। तो इज इट क्लियर? जैसे यहाँ पे भी इस केस में जो मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ जहाँ पे मैंने एक वर्चुअल मशीन क्रिएट करी जो ubuntu से बूटेड है, मेरा बेस ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम तो विंडोज 10 है। तो एनी टाइम आई कैन मिनिमाइज इट एंड आई व्हेन आई एम क्लिकिंग ऑन द डेस्कटॉप ऑफ विंडोज आई एम कमिंग बैक टू माय ओरिजिनल मशीन। तो मैं इजिली स्विच कर सकता हूँ। ठीक है, तो ऐसे ही उसमें होता है। तो नाउ इज इट क्लियर कि whenever we have to work in multi user environment we should have a user ID, we should have a password। क्योंकि आप सब जानते हैं कि एक मल्टी यूजर मशीन के अंदर जो है बहुत सारे यूजर्स काम करते हैं और उन सब का काम जो है विल बी एग्जीक्यूटेड बाय दैट मशीन ओनली एंड दैट इज व्हाई इन प्रीवियस क्लास वी हैव सीन that how the processes which correspond to the program submitted by different users are handled in the single RAM by a single processor with the use of different algorithms supported by operating system. So that we have seen yesterday कि कैसे जो है वो round robin time shared manner में every process is getting the turn for execution. So all those 8 or 10 people who are working on that machine, they are getting this impression that they are simply executing their programs. But actually what is happening, all these programs are executed by the single machine which may be in the server room। तो उसी पे सारा काम हो रहा है। ठीक है, तो वैसे ही यहाँ पे है। तो जब भी कोई ऐसा मल्टी यूजर एनवायरनमेंट आता है वी हैव टू हैव द यूजर आईडी एंड ऑफ कोर्स व्हेन वी आर हैविंग यूजर आईडी वी शुड हैव पासवर्ड काइंड ऑफ security mechanism because ultimately whatever I am storing that will be stored on the hard disk of that Linux server. So since that is the single hard disk being used by 10 or 15 users who are working in their logins, so of course they should have separate logins and we should have some mechanism of providing protection to the areas allocated to different users on the hard disk. क्योंकि आप जो स्टोर see if I am storing anything I will be storing in SPS ITCA directory, and if your name is Sunil and you are having a login ID as Sunil MCA, so obviously, once you are logged into the system, you are placed in the home directory Sunil MCA. Now, Sunil MCA and SPS ITCA both are existing on the same hard disk, but we should have some mechanism of protecting our area so that you cannot come to my area, and similarly, I cannot go to your area. So that mechanism is provided through password. So we are logged into the system by just giving the credentials like user ID and password, and once it is verified that we are the correct person, then we'll be having the prompt and now machine is ready to take instructions from me, and whatever I am typing I'll be storing in my home directory. So right now if I wish to see my home directory I have given the command pwd. So what happens, I am getting the display /home/user, that means this is my home directory. So anything which I am creating over here, ठीक है, मैं यहाँ पे अगर कुछ भी लिखता हूँ या कोई क्रिएट करता हूँ वो सब कहाँ क्रिएट होगा, यूजर सब डायरेक्टरी के अंदर, क्योंकि /home/user इज द कंप्लीट पाथ ऑफ माय होम डायरेक्टरी। ठीक है, सो माय वर्किंग एरिया इज यूजर। ठीक है, मैं यहाँ पे अपना काम कर रहा हूँ। सो नाउ वी कैन जस्ट सी कि whether we are having the directories created for me or not. So I am just giving, so look at this display M1, M2, M3. These are the three directories which have been created. ये ls command क्या है that we'll discuss very shortly. ये actually list command है जिसकी सहायता से we can see the contents of my current directory. And after that, whatever I have given like ls, after I am giving m, right? Because if I am giving ls only, so I'll be having many files and directory displayed on the screen. So you have to choose that. You have to see that here I am having m1, m2, m3. So if you are very specific and you wish to see only those files which are having the first character as m, having any second character, when I write question mark, that emulate any second character, maybe 1 2 3 4 5, any number. Okay, mi, mx. So this is, you can say, uh, a classification of all those files which are having the first alphabet as m, the second alphabet may be anything. So m question mark, when I give, so I am getting only those files which are starting with the alphabet m but having any other character as its next character. So here M1, M2 and M3, they are the directories. So mkdir basically is used to create a directory, and inside the directory we can create some files. Okay. So like there is a command called touch. So you understand that it is used to create a small file without having any contents. So पहले तो I have to give the command cd m1, change directory m1. That means now I am moving from my home directories that which was user to m1. So when I give cd m1, I am getting this kind of display on the prompt like slash user add ubuntu and then slash m1. But it will be more clear when you give pwd command. So what will happen now? Slash home slash user, and now inside user I am having m1 subdirectory. So that is the folder where I can keep some files. So here if I create any file like touch and say my file name is first.sh. So this file I have created. Now again you check you are still inside m1, and again you check what is there inside m1. So you are having the file first.sh. तो टच जो है इसकी और डिटेल हम बाद में आपको बताएंगे, केवल प्रैक्टिस एक आप ये समझिए कि यू कैन क्रिएट अ स्मॉल फाइल विदाउट हैविंग एनी कंटेंट. यू कैन यूज टच. बेसिकली टच जो है टाइम स्टैंपिंग के लिए यूज होती है, जो टाइम स्टैंप उसका चेंज करती है, बट आई डोंट विश टू टेक दीज टर्मिनोलॉजीज राइट नाउ because they'll further confuse you, and since you are the beginner, so I'm just telling you that in order to create a small file you can use touch, and other command you can use for creation of file will also be discussed shortly. Okay, so is it clear? And now let us move to the white screen where I can explain you what is the meaning of doing all these things. जैसे अभी मैंने आपको बताया था कि सपोज इफ आई विश टू वर्क, I have to enter my login name. So here in my case by default I was placed in Ubuntu. Okay, and here I first use the command pwd, which is print working directory, and somewhere it is also referred as present working directory. So I got slash home slash user, and inside that I have also created another directory called m1. What does it mean? It means that I'm having a root structure of directories. So there I am having inside the root directory I am having a home directory, and inside the home directory I am having a user subdirectory, and inside the user I am having m1. So if you remember, I have created three directories m1, m2 and m3, and that I have created in a single go. एक ही बार में मैंने सब create किया था. Like if I give mkdir m1, m2, m3, and before that suppose we have checked that where we are, so it is shown that I am right now in the user subdirectory. So what is happening? I have created m1, m2, m3 where? Inside this user. So what does it mean? Inside the user we are having three directories in this way: m1, m2 and m3. So if you see, this diagram is almost similar to what we have studied in tree structure of data structure. ठीक है, तो जो ट्री डेटा स्ट्रक्चर होता है वो डायरेक्टरी का ही स्ट्रक्चर है. So here, like inside home, user is my login ID, but we may be having some other login IDs. There may be a login ID with the name ITCA. There may be a directory with the name SPS ITCA. There may be a directory with the name Sunil MCA. ठीक है? So these are the three directories which belong to the same home. Similarly, M1, M2, and M3, these are the three directories which belong to the same home user. So we can create directories. DOS में भी you have this command called MD. Sorry, DOS में ये prompt नहीं होता है, ये होता है. तो वहाँ पे ये command MD है, make directory. लेकिन वहाँ पे it is not allowed that simultaneously you can specify three directories A, B, C to be created in the current directory. Your current directory is suppose user in DOS. तो आप ABC एक साथ नहीं क्रिएट कर सकते. 3 times you have to execute MDA, MDB, MDC. तो अभी मैं कहाँ हूँ, यूजर के अंदर. तो अगर मैं यूजर में रहते हुए ये कमांड जो है बारी बारी एग्जीक्यूट कर रहा हूँ, तो इसका मतलब आई हैव क्रिएटेड 3 डायरेक्टरीज इनसाइड यूजर. तो डॉस में क्या होगा, इस तरीके से बन जाएगा A, B and C. So the conceptually whatever we study in DOS or Windows it has been taken from Unix only. So that is why everywhere we follow the same concept. Okay? But since Unix or Linux is more powerful, so it lets you to create multiple directories in a single go. एक ही बार में आप कई directory create कर सकते हैं at the current level. तो अब अगर आप इस tree को देखें, तो we are terming this home as a parent of Sunil MCA, parent of user, parent of SPS ITCA. So this is called home directory, and this is subdirectory. This is also a subdirectory. This is also a subdirectory. ठीक है? ऐसे यूजर के अंदर M1, M2, M3, these are the subdirectories, and for all these subdirectories, which is the home directory? User. And which is the home directory of user? It is home only. And which is the home directory for home? It was root only. तो ये जो खाली स्लैश आपको दिखाई दे रहा, this is the root. So my working area starts where I am by default placed. So I am placed by default in user. So I am supposed to work from user onwards only. Okay, but it doesn't mean that I cannot come to home, I cannot come to root. You are allowed to come to home, you are allowed to come to root. Similarly, anybody who is logged into the system, say if I am working as on a multi-user machine and I am logged in as SPS ITCA, and my home directory where I am by default placed is /home/SPS ITCA. अगर ये मेरी home directory है, so by default I'll be placed here. And I'm getting $, and when I check PWD, I'm getting my home directory. ऐसे ही suppose Sunil MC is also logged in, and his home directory is suppose /home/Sunil MCA. तो /home Sunil MCA. अब इसके बाद suppose Sunil MC अपने login में क्या देते हैं? He is giving CD double dot. When you give CD double dot, this double dot specifies the parent of current directory. मतलब move to parent of current directory, मतलब आपको एक लेवल अप जाना है. इसको हम सिंपल लैंग्वेज में कहते हैं कि सुनील MCA जो है वो चाहते हैं कि वो अपने पेरेंट डायरेक्टरी में चले जाएं CD डबल डॉट से. सो व्हाट विल हैपन, ही विल कम टू होम. तो उसके बाद $, फिर से आ जाएगा. जब अगर फिर से सुनील is checking, so he'll find that he is inside /home only. Now he know that SPS sir is also having his home directory in the same home, so he can give the command CD and then he is giving SPS ITCA. When he presses enter, he again gets $. Suppose now he is again checking PWD, so what happens, he is getting /home/SPS ITCA. Now it is surprising. Why it is surprising? That even if he is not knowing my password, which is a security mechanism provided to me for keeping my area protected, but he has logged into the system as Sunil MCA, but he has the option of coming to my home directory. Now one can say, then what is the use of having this security mechanism when Sunil is able to come to my area? Then what's the use of having protection of password? Actually, in Unix or Linux, it is commonly said that it is you who is responsible for your own area. Nobody else will take care about the security of your area. You have to decide how much access others have to be given. जैसे it is on me that I have to decide whether I should let anyone like Sunil to come to my area or not. Had I taken appropriate measures, he might have not got success to come to my area. But since it was my failure that I have not taken enough security measures, and that is why it is possible that Sunil has got success in coming to my area. तो इसलिए ये कैसे आप प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हैं अपने एरिया को, विल डिस्कस लेटर ऑन. लेकिन आप ये समझें कि इससे बहुत ऑटोनॉमी है आपके पास. नॉर्मली क्या होता है, जो बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम्स होते हैं, जैसे वन सच ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इज नोवेल नेटवेयर. So what is happening in case of novel netware? It is the super user who decides how much protection should be given to every user. Now in case of Unix, it is totally different scenario. Here the super user bothers about himself only, and he is giving enough tools to everybody's hand to decide about their own security. Now it is the responsibility of every individual to secure his login area. So that you have to do. Like if I am creating any important file, what will happen if I'm not taking appropriate measures? It is possible that Sunil can come to my area and he can see what I have created. And if I'm not caring enough, then what will happen? He may do anything wrong with my files. He can delete those files. He can modify my codes. Okay. The person may be having any malicious intention. So we have to protect our data, and that we can do by just using very small commands. So we'll discuss them later on because since it's a beginning, so we have to see only the basic commands. So I suppose now it is clear that how we are having the concept of directories and subdirectories and files. Okay, we have seen one command which is called pwd, which stands for present working directory, which is always helping you to understand where you are right now. So when you give pwd, you get the complete path of that area where you are presently working. Like the one which I have shown you, that when I gave pwd, I was having /home/user. So that was the default area where I am lying. तो उसके बाद अगर मैंने डायरेक्टरी एक क्रिएट करी with the name m1, so that directory I can create with the use of mkdir command. Then next command we have used is cd change directory, and then whatever directory I have created in the with the use of mkdir, that is m1, with the use of cd I have moved inside m1. So when I gave cd m1, I moved inside m1. After that, once again, if I check pwd, I am getting the path /home/user/m1. Why? Because I have moved inside m1. Okay. So now inside f1, if I wish to create any file, see when I say file means जो हम अब तक file कहते हैं, जैसे any program written in Java, C, C++, or any seminar report, project report typed in MS Word. So they are the files. But in context to Linux, it is always regular file. So when I use command touch and give the name after that, so with that name a regular file is created. Regular file but empty contents, without any content. Okay. Touch command is basically creates a file, but the mandate of touch command is not to create the file. ठीक है, इसका mandate तो कुछ और है, लेकिन आपको वो बाद में बताएंगे. बट फिलहाल you understand that if you wish to create a exemplary file without having any content, you can give touch and then file name, तो एक फाइल क्रिएट हो जाएगी. तो फाइल और डायरेक्टरी फाइल में जिसको हम फाइल कह रहे हैं वो एक्चुअली रेगुलर फाइल है. तो एवरी टाइम आई एम नॉट सेइंग रेगुलर फाइल. When I say file means file, which till now we are understanding that file is any C program, Java program. So similarly, the same concept is applicable here. It is another thing that Linux says that you should say everything as a file, directory file, regular file. ठीक है, बट यहाँ पे हम खाली डायरेक्टरी कह रहे हैं because we are having enough understanding about the directories. तो जो विंडोज में फोल्डर कहलाता है वो यहाँ पे डायरेक्टरी कहलाता है, जो विंडोज में फाइल्स कहलाती हैं वो यहाँ पे रेगुलर फाइल्स कहलाती हैं. तो टच वी हैव यूज्ड टू क्रिएट अ रेगुलर फाइल, एंड mkdir we have used to create a directory file. तो आप एक फोल्डर क्रिएट कर रहे हैं with the use of mkdir और एक फाइल क्रिएट कर रहे हैं with the use of touch. So we have seen the commands like mkdir, cd, pwd, cd with double dot. cd with double dot means you wish to move one level up in the tree structure. Like right now at present you are in user subdirectory, आप यहाँ पे हैं और यहाँ से आप होम में जाना चाहते हैं तो जब आप लिखते हैं CD डबल डॉट तो आप फिर यहाँ आ जाते हैं। अगेन इफ यू एग्जीक्यूट CD डबल डॉट तो आप यहाँ पे आ जाते हैं। ठीक है, तो with every CD double dot you are moving one level up in the tree. So whether you understand this concept as if we are moving one level up, or you say that we are moving to home directory, because double dot specify home directory. So when you write change directory double dot, that means you wish to move to the home directory of current directory. So what is home directory of current directory? जैसे अगर मैं यहाँ पे हूँ, so what is home directory of current directory is this one root. तो मैं एक लेवल ऊपर चला जाऊंगा, तो आप CD डबल डॉट कह के चाहे ये कहिए कि एक लेवल आप चले जाते हैं ट्री स्ट्रक्चर में, या आप ये कहिए कि आप करंट डायरेक्टरी के पेरेंट में चले जाते हैं CD डबल डॉट से। तो इज इट क्लियर? तो हियर वी हैव सीन द एग्जांपल कि एक जो है फर्स्ट नाम से हमने एक फाइल बनाई है जो टच से क्रिएट करी, और एक जो है M1 हमने डायरेक्टरी बनाई है जो कि MKDIR से बनाई है। देखिए दोनों में बड़ा अंतर है, डायरेक्टरी और एक रेगुलर फाइल में बड़ा अंतर है। विल डिस्कस टुमारो कि इसमें क्या अंतर और है। ठीक है, एक तो आप जानते ही हैं कि डायरेक्टरी के अंदर जो है फाइल एग्जिस्ट करती है, फाइल के अंदर डायरेक्टरी नहीं होती, फाइल के अंदर तो सिंपल कंटेंट्स होते हैं। जैसे लाइक वी नो दैट कि फाइल इफ इट इज अ सी प्रोग्राम सो वी से दैट इज अ सी फाइल। ठीक है, बट कैन यू इमेजिन दैट देयर मे बी अ डायरेक्टरी इनसाइड दैट फाइल? नो, directory is nothing but a folder, so that is the space where actually we keep the files. Okay, it's sort of almirah where we are arranging all the physical files. So similarly it is also a folder where we are arranging all the soft files. Similarly in case of Linux we say it's a directory where we are arranging all the regular files. Okay, so with this I am ending my lecture here only, and if you are having any problem in understanding this concept, you can ask your queries, and I'll again make this lecture available to you because I'm storing all my lectures so that you can later on replay them just to understand anything if you are having any confusion, and further if your confusion lasts, so please contact me and raise your query. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So now I am exiting, and with that exit I can move to full screen mode, and you can see that here I am shutting down my system. तो shut down guest, तो I am shutting down. ठीक है, एक बार अगर ये पूरा शट डाउन हो जाएगा, so then you can go to file option and you choose the exit option. So you'll come out of a VMware workstation. So your machine will be stopped. I mean your virtual machine will be stopped and you will come back to your laptop. जैसे अभी ये हो गया है तो now I can exit. ठीक है, और ठीक है, so I'm just ending my session.
सर
हाँ बताइए।
सर जैसे कि सर हम उबंटू को सर इसमें VMware में इंस्टॉल किए हैं, और सर अगर हम इसी को सर ओरेकल वर्चुअल बॉक्स में इंस्टॉल करें, सर दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या रहता है?
देखिए वर्चुअलाइजेशन सॉफ्टवेयर जो है उसमें कोई ऐसा डिफरेंस नहीं, सबके अपने अलग अलग एंड प्रोज एंड कॉन्स हैं। VMware बहुत पॉपुलर है और हमने क्योंकि ओरेकल को ट्राई नहीं किया तो प्रॉब्ली हम आपको बिल्कुल क्लियर कर डिफरेंस तो बताएंगे, लेकिन मैंने जहाँ भी देखा वहाँ पे अधिकतर VMware सेटअप ही चलाए हैं इसको चलाने के लिए। तो मैंने जैसे VMware में मैंने आपको कहा कि विंडोज XP पे भी काम किया है, VMware से वर्चुअल मशीन क्रिएट करके उबंटू में काम किया है। तो आप एक बार गूगल करके देख लीजिए कि इन दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है। वैसे कंसेप्चुअली जो है दोनों सेम है। जैसे मैंने आपको कहा कि इन प्रिंसिपल जो है वो बहुत सारे सॉफ्टवेयर सिमिलर होते हैं, लेकिन उनके जो सेलिएंट फीचर्स हैं वो अलग अलग हो सकते हैं। तो दैट यू कैन चेक अप। ठीक है, बट आई हैव नॉट यूज्ड दिस ओरेकल वर्चुअल बॉक्स।
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।